Hey Clashes, Root Rider were nerfed yesterday quite a bit. So people are now scared that, well, are they dead? Can they still be used? Are they still any good? Because they were reduced by 500 hit points and half their damage, which sounds like a lot. But is it actually that much? Well, we are going to take a look at that today. And I will use this army. I'm a huge fan of this army composition because it's not using any super troops. So especially I used this army to farm my lower Tower 16 accounts because this meant that I did not have to spend anything on Dark Elixir with using this army. Obviously you can use like super barbarians and everything, but that would cost you Dark Elixir. Equipment wise, we're going super classic. Nothing really changes here with the nerf of the Root Riders. The equipment are still the same as before, and we're diving in and I will show you how it's done. Okay, first things first, I can spoil you that already. You won't see that crazy big of a difference though. That's like something really important. I will show you different attacks, different style versus like bases, which they are currently. This one is sadly not completely maxed out, but it's all about the base style. And I feel like a lot of people don't really know 100% how to use the Root Riders, and especially this really simple version because you don't have any super wall breakers whatsoever. So what you're trying to do with this one is you don't want to get into the base over a corner. That's really important. Instead, what you typically do is one corner, you deploy your queen, one corner, the siege barracks. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to deploy the siege barracks at the bottom side. I will use one Root Rider to give me access to the core and further into the base. Yes, there's the opening, but that's not really, I don't want to rely on that one. Now we're using the queen on the other side. And use a couple of Valkyries to funnel there, and then we're going kind of in between those two funnel points which we have created. That's where we're going in with those Root Riders. That's exactly what I'm doing now. This is as well the reason why we're bringing the Lizard to this attack, because we have the Archer Queen on the flank, which means that, well, we need something in the core to take down defending heroes, take down defending clan castle troops, especially if there's something like dragons in there and such things. So that means that we somehow need to make sure that we're taking those out, and the king cannot always take down everything, right? So we're having the Lizard in there to give us some more access to everything. Now let's use that overgrowth spell. Let's use some spells like this to freeze everything, distract the back end. We still have another rage. I think I will just use the rage for my royal champion, give her some more power with the hog riders as well in there. I'm really bad at using the headhunters, by the way, because I never reconcentrate on them. So depending on if you like to use them or not, you could even replace them if you want to, but a lot of times they're kind of helpful, especially if you're going into defending heroes. That's quite nice. Another big game changer to me is for sure the super minions inside the clan castle, inside the siege barracks, because it's really, really crazy how much damage they can deal and everything. Now let's just use the wizards for cleanup. We can use the freeze somewhere here, whatever, and we're getting our first nice 3-star. Yes, the attacks are going to be closer, but the only thing which is going to be different mainly is because like attacks which have been approached from the wrong side of the base, I've seen that a lot, that people are like going into corners of the base and such things. Those things are going to be, they won't work anymore, so you have to now select the proper sides you're going in from. But as long as you're doing that, you're good to go, as we are on this one. The monolith is still last defense standing, but we have the king still left as well. And you can tell out already as well, it's way closer, but you still get those 3 stars in, so they're far from being dead. And that's something really important. I feel like people are not really understanding, especially those people who are saying Root Riders are dead now. It's there's a difference in nerfs, right? Like if a troop power level wise is balanced or already decent on a power level 10, let's imagine that now as a I don't know, like limit. And Root Riders were released with a power level of 50 or 100 or whatever, but they were reduced 3 times. This still does not mean necessarily that they're not below the 10. They're still in the top 3 most likely of the strongest troops in the game, and they can be still pretty easily used. Let's move on to the next base and see if we can get another nice 3-star. Okay, perfect. This base actually was super common in higher legends, especially during the end of last season, right? So this was one of the super annoying high legend anti-Root Rider bases. So it has the core Invis spell, it has a poison tower on the other side to slow things down and everything. So let's figure things out and how to approach this base. Again, I would like to have the same approach as what we have just done, with having the queen on one side, and then the siege barracks on the other. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Queen here, a bit of support, siege barracks, and then I'm going to use 1 root rider to actually get into this base. It seems like that this side is well baited with spring traps, typically obviously for the super barbarians, but I like to use more Valkyries because this is not another super troop which I have to use then and activate and everything. So yeah, this is kind of like the low budget form of those mass root rider attacks which you typically see higher up in Legends. Now, so far so good. We can use the Queen ability, so she's having her healers. I will use the Overgrowth spell for sure in the core. We can use the Rage here. I'm typically using the Rages quite late, which is not optimal, but hey, it is what it is. Let's use that phrase here. Let's hope that something's going to activate that Invis tower, so then we can use that Overgrowth spell for the core. That's exactly what we're going to do now. But you want to have that spell tower activated early and before you're actually going further into the base. Let's use the skeleton spells here because we can't really use them later because we have multi-family towers, such things on the back end. But you can still see we're going around this core. We can use the poison here to get those ice golems out of the way. Here's the king ability. We have the superman on the outside, and we use the Valkyrie right here with some wizards. We have the cleanup headhunters, as I told you earlier. I like to forget them and like to forget about placing them. But we have another rage which we can use to get towards the core. Then hopefully the let's use it like this. Hopefully the Invis tower is not going to wake up too early. That would be kind of bad, to be honest. Let's now use this to maybe protect our fox. That would be great. How did the fox get targeted, by the way? That's crazy. That's crazy. But we still have the king and everything, so we're still good to go, I think. Where's the base because the core is already open. Town did not go down with this, but we still have the king, as I said. So this is one of the most common anti-root rider bases, and trust me, I have not really used and attacked those high legend bases because I have not been pushing over the last couple of months, right? So I just know it from like watching different videos and stuff like that. And that's why I know that those bases were used high up in Legends, but I've never attacked them. So this is pretty much the first idea, and it's still working. It's obviously closer, as I said earlier, but it's still working. I kind of want to give, I get rid of this idea of some people saying like this troop is dead, especially the more casual players. I think can still really easily use this with great success, but there's no more counterplay, which obviously is a good thing, right? Like this is how it should be. It should be not like that. You just have to place this. Maybe it's going to even time fail because my king is not walking around the top, instead going for this wall and obviously going for the max wall. That is kind of unfortunate. Well, come on, king, you got this. Slow effect of the tunnel is gone. Come on, go on. I was talking too much in the beginning, didn't I? Come on, 4, 3, 2, 1. Was never close. Okay. I remember for the next attack, don't talk that much in the beginning to make sure that's not getting close. Sadly, I found a lot of similar bases, so I just thought, let's take a look at one of those replays, which I've done for my German channel, one of the attacks, which is versus Invis towers, because that's another really common setup higher up in Legends. There's different style of those bases, there's different type of islands which you can protect with those invisibility towers, but I think this one is a common one, right? I think this one, I've seen this already plenty of times, either attacking it myself or, for example, seeing it in videos and streams and such things, right? So again, the approach is always pretty much the same with this attack. You have one side clearing out with the archer, one side with the siege barracks, and then the middle part with the root riders. I like to kind of versus those Invis tower, go with the flow, just wait and see what my troops are doing, and it's all about the timing of the spells. And that's probably the biggest difference now between the old and the new root riders. The old root riders were really forgiving. You do not always have to use choose the perfect side to attack from. You don't really have to always choose perfect timing for your spells. But this has now a bit changed. So they're less forgiving, I guess. That's the correct way of saying it. And currently I'm just trying to make sure that the tunnel poison again is the last building, which can be risky now with the less powerful root riders, don't get me wrong, but as long as you pick the correct side and you're seeing, okay, things are looking good, like my king got the entire compartment in the middle and then everything, which means there was no problem whatsoever that having the town hall, one of the last buildings, should be a problem, right? That should be no problem. And now we have the root riders taking care of the left side, and that's kind of pretty much the base entirely gone. So to sum things up overall, I would say root riders are far from being dead. I would say they are far from being like the solo #1 strategy in the game, but I would still argue that root riders are still one of the top 3 troops in the game currently, if you're talking about 10 or 16 and the strength level. Just because they're empowering other troops so well, especially especially Valkyries, which in my opinion, with all of the latest buffs, level and everything they've gotten, they're kind of sleeper OP. And I'm currently working as well on like creating a strategy with them, which is not relying on the root riders. And so far, my experience is that they are really, really strong. Valkyries are crazily underrated. But one thing which I would like to see changed still and nerfed a little bit is, don't worry, not the root riders, but the overgrowth spell. I feel like the overgrowth spell currently is still a bit too strong for specifically this strategy as well, obviously. But overall, I feel like it still gives you too much duration. The range is as well crazy. But otherwise, well, we have seen the nerf. We can feel the nerf. Are root riders dead? No, they're far from being dead. Give it as well a try. If you want to use this, I call it just low budget army composition from me. Feel free to use it down below in the comments. Otherwise, you can add super barbarians and such things to it as well. But then this means you have to activate the Dark Elixir, which I know not everyone wants to spend every single time. This is the army which I have been using on my lower channel 16s to farm them, to do those legend attacks and everything. Because, as I said, you just don't need those Dark Elixir resources to use on super troops, for example. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for today for the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you guys hopefully back to one with the next one. Until then, see ya and bye-bye.